Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3848. Today's date is January uh, January 28, 2026. It's been almost like afternoon at 1:17 p.m. All right, I just had a lunch, very heavy lunch. I don't know why, but it's just like that now. After I ate my kind of like a lunch or dinner, I just need a walk. Okay, and what better way to kind of like utilize this walk for very valuable lesson, record artifact? Would be really good. I don't know. Okay, let's just ask bunch of question. Let's do it. All right. The question is: am I copying other creator or genuinely learning and adapting from them? Oh, okay, that's a good question. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? This is kind of like a something YouTube realization question. Like I ask this question to myself so that I would consider I would kind of like simply I want to know that am I kind of like simply worthy enough to say I am a YouTuber or not. Okay, yeah, it's a kind of like simply something that key a realization. Like basically when I ask this question, I just not only realize about myself, I also realize about this profession, this YouTube and things and that. Okay, yeah, so that I would know more about myself. Okay, as a YouTuber or that and that. Now regarding about the question says that am I copying other creator or genuinely learning or adapting from them? Now, am I copying? Like first of all, is that key? If I make a video, which is exactly like a someone else video, so is it copying? Yeah, is it copying? Is it wrong? Well, yeah, in some contexts, no, in some contexts. Why is that? Sorry. Okay. So the question is that the copying, yeah. Like basically is this thing, if I copy someone craft, okay, yeah. Is it like am I doing something really wrong? Well, from my opinion, it's not wrong. Okay, yeah. Let me tell you one thing that ki I'm gonna tell you the human perspective. Okay, I'm gonna kind of like give you a couple of scenario regarding about that ki how does innovation actually happen. Because I think that na ki YouTube is a kind of like a creative field. Okay, yeah. And everyone are kind of like creating something new. It's something ideas, execution, innovation, things like that. Something new always gonna happen on this YouTube platform. Okay, yeah. So usually if I'm gonna say that how innovation actually happened. Okay, yeah. So let's just understand the innovation, how the innovation actually happened. Okay. I'm gonna kind of like give you example so that you might gonna understand. Okay. So Apple iPhone. Okay, yeah. So look at the iPhone design since the beginning. Okay, yeah. I didn't really know. I like basically this thing iPhone design from, let's just say that key like iPhone design is not really evolved from like a directly today. No, it kind of like a evolved very slowly. Okay, yeah. Like the first iPhone is kind of like a look like really dumb, but then next iPhone kind of like a look really good. iPhone 4 would kind of like a look really kind of like a sleek 4.3-inch screen size, really good. Okay, yeah. iPhone 5 is also really became really good. Then iPhone 6 became little bit of kind of like a assembly thin probably. iPhone 7 dual camera. iPhone 8, yeah, iPhone 8 is also really good too. They didn't really make iPhone 9, yeah. They directly jumped to the iPhone 10. Actually iPhone X. Okay, yeah. iPhone X and XR. Okay. These are kind of like a really good phone. Okay, yeah. Then iPhone 11, okay, 3 camera setup, and and iPhone 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, they have kind of like almost same design, but little bit improve. Okay, the camera bump little bit bigger, kind of like a size little bit of bigger, the notch became little bit of shorter, the kind of like a some screen to body ratio kind of like a became shorter. Like basically, if I kind of like look that now, kind of like a design, the design that iPhone does have right now is kind of like a somebody went through multiple of stages. Okay, yeah. Like basically design never really kind of like a somebody just directly change. No. It changed slowly, 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 slowly. And sometimes now like basically when you try to kind of like somebody take a iPhone, it's kind of like a look exactly like a previous iPhone. But there are so many things that actually improve in their kind of like a somebody processing speed, processor. There are so many things that are actually inside. They change it. Okay. Now, if you're not really understanding this concept, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, na, ki usually innovation is not actually happened from kind of like from scratch. No, sometimes innovation or mostly innovation is actually happened from inspiration. Like we took the inspired from something and we make it, we upgrade them. We upgrade that particular process. Okay, yeah. So that is called kind of like innovation actually happened. Like, let me tell you one thing, the car, okay. Let's just say Bugatti car. Okay, Bugatti car is actually making supercar since like hundreds of years. Okay, yeah. Now at the beginning they have kind of like a very simple, sleek design, things and that, royalty things and that and that and that. And right now Bugatti car are kind of like look like really upgraded version of themselves. So basically is this thing na, the innovation is a kind of like an inspiration from previous version, like whatever the previous version that we have, how do I supposed to improve them? So they kind of like take that model and kind of like improve in every possible way regarding about the what does people want, what does things, and we should supposed to change according to it and things and that and that. Like basically this is what kind of like innovation actually happened. Okay, yeah. Like nothing actually happened from scratch. Everything is actually happened from innovation or inspiration and things and that. Like some people kind of like create a design, another person kind of like execute design in a kind of like a somewhat something similar way, but little bit better. And that little bit better became more and more better. It looked kind of like a way much different product after some stuff amount of time. So basically this thing, copying someone craft is not bad at all unless you just kind of like do it. Like unless like you just kind of like not putting your effort. Like let me tell you one thing now. Let's just say that ki let's just say Mr. Beast video. Okay, yeah. So Mr. Beast, I kind of like somebody like the execution of the Mr. Beast video, the way that he make a video and things and that and that. Now if I try to make Mr. Beast kind of like a similar video, basically my execution style is kind of like a somewhat something look like Mr. Beast video, but this is my video because there is no Mr. Beast. Is actually I kind of like a copy the process of how the things actually happened, and I learn from that. I learn from this process and things and how the Mr. Beast kind of like execute the sound effects, subtitle, kind of like animations, the audio impact and things and that and that. There are so many things that are kind of like somebody, if you try to copy, we learn a lot of stuff. So basically, yeah. And if you wanted to understand the copy, okay, so China would be kind of like a really good example. Okay, yeah. China has a copy of everything. Like they have copy version of iPhone, Apple, cars, Rolls Royals. They copy everything, every American brand and things and that and that. Now, is they wrong? Did they wrong? Well, at the beginning, yeah, like a people point of perspective, it kind of like a feel like wrong. Like a why does kind of like a copy version of kind of like a Land Rover in the China and things and that. It felt like really off. But after some sort of time, they upgraded. Okay, yeah, they make their design by their own and kind of like a really good. They have kind of like a automobile company called BYD, which is kind of like a really good design and something really great, which is also come from they copy kind of like American brand and things like that. So basically it's this thing na ki I don't really consider as a copy is a wrong thing. Okay, yeah, but you have to upgrade that thing. now I have to be asked this kind of like some question to myself. Okay, yeah. Okay. You wanted to build an application called Artifact. Okay, yeah. So imagine you build the Artifact, you build this application, okay, and basically it's this thing that you launch this application. That application went viral in all around the world, and things and that. Okay. Now, if in the China, okay, China is not really kind of like accepting the Indian apps and things and that, so obviously they will gonna kind of like create a copy version of Artifact. Okay, yeah. Now, if they make it, if no, they will definitely gonna make it. If not, they will definitely gonna make it. So if they make it, so do you consider is it bother to you? Well, technically is this thing na ki my application is not a kind of like a specific thing regarding about app. It's just an app with the audio recorder and that's it. Nothing really that much kind of like a fancy about that thing. App is just kind of like just a normal and things and that. But what I want is that ki Artifact like basically people will gonna record the trust. Okay, yeah. Because let me tell you one thing now. If I build the Artifact is because of I come from the decade experience regarding about how should supposed to be record the Artifact, what exactly happened, things and that. I utilize my experience to kind of like make my app as much as better as it can. Okay, yeah. And another person kind of like a copy that thing. Is it bother? Yeah, it kind of like bother me at the beginning, but also is this thing na ki it's it's a kind of like a thing that it's a kind of like a thing that na ki first of all is that ki there are so many, like it's not just an application, dude. Like it's a kind of like simply the take care of the people who are kind of like recording the Artifact. Because as I mentioned, the Artifact is not only kind of like give the strength to the people who kind of like record the Artifact, but as well as kind of like simply you could make them vulnerable too. You could make them weak in the Artifact too. Yeah, like a kind of like ask such a question that make them kind of like something negative regarding about themselves and things and that, then people might gonna cripple. It kind of like change their behavior and things and that. Like example is this thing. In my application, in my Artifact, I will gonna ask such a question to the people that kind of like uplift them. Okay, yeah. Obviously, I will kind of like study them regarding about that, who they are, what kind of like a thinking and that. And obviously, they also have their choice that what kind of like a question answer they should supposed to be give the answer. They would have a choice and things and that. But most of the kind of like a question, I would suggest that kind of like uplift them or things and that. So when I kind of like give them such a question, they not only kind of like feel really good to kind of like say or something about themselves, but as also they kind of like live their life. They kind of like feel really good to record Artifact. Example is this thing that ki, basically a question about that ki, who is the person that you are the most proud of? Okay, yeah. Now, basically, every person are kind of like some sort of person that they are proud of and things and that, or maybe the person that they admire or things and that. They would kind of like tell their story and things. It kind of like make them uplift regarding about things and stuff. I don't know, but it felt really good to them. Now, if I kind of like say this thing that ki, what is the worst thing that you are kind of like hiding from the people? Now, if I kind of like somebody give this kind of, if I kind of like ask this question, it's not really that kind of like this question is negative, but it kind of like somebody uncover such a truth that they don't want to be. Okay, yeah. And it kind of like feel them kind of like a little bit bad, but it is also really essential to kind of like give them. It's not really that as an Artifact, I will not gonna kind of like somebody let them kind of like ask such a thing, that. But yeah, but what I want is that I will gonna kind of like my application will gonna ask hard question after I realize that people are capable enough to kind of like ask a little bit of hard questions. So I will gonna give them hard question that kind of like somebody understand regarding about are they right and wrong and things and that, so that they would kind of like understand themselves much more better way. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, like I'm not gonna tell you the process regarding about how do I supposed to run the application, but this is what it is. Like my main purpose is to kind of like people should supposed to record the Artifact, get the familiarized with the process of being Artifact and things and that. And once you are kind of like somebody familiar, comfortable, once you are kind of like know your, once you're kind of like a capable enough to that you could record things and that, then I will gonna ask kind of like a little bit hard questions so that you kind of like judge your life regarding about your choices and things and that and what kind of like a better way and things and that. So as I mentioned, I am actually holding very big power regarding about how does people should supposed to be feel, or how the people should supposed to be kind of like a feel while recording artifact, or as also it will gonna impact on their life too. Okay, yeah. So it is kind of like a very big responsibility. Okay, yeah. And that responsibility is a kind of like a something very much essential to understand that key how much it impact. Like basically when I record the artifact, whatever the word that I'm saying, the word are actually came from me. There is no scripted version. There is nothing really at all. There is a kind of like a whatever the stuff I'm thinking, I'm just blunt it out in this recorder. Okay, yeah. So it's just like that, na ki I understand the consequences. If I kind of like ask something wrong question, I would understand that ki how much it bad to the people who thinks and that. Now, basically, is this thing that ki if the copy version of my application, they would not gonna understand. They would not gonna understand the consequences of what we're gonna feel. Obviously, they would have. It's not really that ki they don't really understand the consequences, but still, is this thing that ki like a balance probably. It's a kind of like a thing that na ki like I do know how much artifact would kind of like some add value to the people. So you have to kind of like uplift them at some certain point, but try not to give such upliftment that they just kind of like on the cloud nine and they would not think about the other people. You also kind of like resist them something that they would not feel that they are kind of like something guilty and things and that. You just have to find the perfect balance between that thing so that people should supposed feel really good while recording artifact, as well as respect others too, as well as they feel really comfortable about themselves too. Okay, yeah. I need to find that perfect balance, and that perfect balance that actually came from the experience that I've been through while recording artifact and things and that. Now, copy version of artifact is a kind of like a things that ki will they able to understand? I'm not really sure. Okay, yeah. And if they don't really understand and people, and if they kind of like somebody thinking about just a profit, because obviously every business are kind of like want to execute the profit and things and that. So if they kind of like a focus on profit, then probably it will gonna create lot of chaos, because artifact is a kind of like such a tool. It should supposed to utilize for better for humanity. If you are thinking about the profit now, then this will become such a evil that I don't know, the person will become like a evil, like I don't know, like basically is this thing na. Okay, let me give you the context. Okay, yeah. Let's just say I asked, like I kind of like put the question that ki how do you feel when you had a first time, like a how do you feel after the sex and things like that. Now it's a kind of like a very corky and kind of like a little bit sexual and things and that. Now basically is this thing, my question is a kind of like a bit too kind of like uncomfortable to people and things and that. Now some people bit really comfortable, some people went too comfortable, too much comfortable. And when the people will get too much comfortable and they feel really good to kind of like they're saying this thing and that, and they might gonna do something very different too. Like basically this thing, they will gonna say this thing, I feel really good to kind of like had a sex with a kind of like someone and things and that, I'm gonna do it again. So basically what does they will gonna do, they kind of like found a particular random girl and kind of like try to approach and kind of like force them to sex her and things and that. It's so wrong. It kind of like somebody is this thing that my platform would kind of like responsible for them to kind of like somebody rape another person, and it would be like really fucking wrong, really fucking wrong. So I should supposed to understand that consequences, that if I ask this question, what went wrong, or kind of like if I have to ask this question now, then probably is this thing a kind of like somebody ask such a question in a such a way that it doesn't really feel like a wrong, but it should supposed to be kind of like somebody uncover the kind of like somebody like a layer of them to kind of like understand them and things. I don't know how is this thing. It's a kind of like somebody figure it out the balance and things and that. This is what it is. And when you try to think about the profit, then probably sex talk is a kind of like a very much profitable business. Like people would talk about the sex and things and that. People will gonna love to talk. People will gonna listen this thing, and the business will gonna skyrocket and things and that, and people will gonna earn so much amount of money. The people who are kind of like running that company, copy version of company, my company will kind of like earn so much amount of money and things and that, but it will gonna cripple the community, and that is like a really worst thing will gonna happen. So basically is this thing, not everything is a kind of like a copy version is right. Like most of the copy version is right, but probably is this thing na ki if you copy, like basically I'm not say this thing that ki you shouldn't supposed to be copy, yeah, copy that thing, it's not that, but utilize it for right purposes, or maybe kind of like assembly that ki better thing and that. Okay, yeah. But still is this thing that will I able to allow other company to copy version of my artifact and things like that? Well, I would not allow them, or maybe I'm not really sure about at the moment, because I don't know at the moment. Okay, yeah, in the future things will happen, but yeah, like basically is this thing na ki they will, like basically Chinese people will gonna copy, they will gonna create the copy version of the artifact in the future, and yes they will. Okay, yeah, why is that? Because they already copy. They already copy of Google, Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, WhatsApp, what not they have. They have like a bunch of so many social media networks they have in the China that we don't know that. Like we have just kind of like a couple of social media platform like Instagram and probably Facebook and YouTube. That's it. Okay, yeah, but they China, they have like a lot of things and that. And they copy before, they copy the American brand, they copy not only just the American brand, they copy the kind of like influence, their car culture and things and that. I don't know. Yeah, so will they copy my artifact? Yeah, probably they will. Yeah, because yeah, they will. I don't know at the moment. Okay, yeah, but still is this thing that ki I'm not really sure about the what will gonna happen, probably. Yeah, so basically is this thing na ki regarding about copy, yeah, if you utilize for copy for right purposes, then it might gonna do something really right. But if you are just copy and not improvising and things and that, then you are kind of like wrong. Yeah, you are kind of like a completely legitly wrong and things like that. Like basically there is a kind of like a some scene is actually happened event, I don't know. I kind of like make a video regarding about Nagpur hyperlapse video, and couple of people directly download my video and directly upload my video straight, no change at all, just as it is video they uploaded. I kind of like get the I kind of like somebody have this copyright strike. I kind of like give them copyright strike regarding about you copy my video and things and that. YouTube resolved that factor really good, really well. Okay, yeah. So yeah, like basically is this thing that na ki, like basically if the people wanted to kind of like somebody wanted to copy, like copy my content, copy my execution, take a photo, create the hyperlapse by yourself, and kind of like edit the video and upload the video by yourself na. When you have your own content, own library, you kind of like a copy my execution, that is okay, but don't copy the entire thing. It's legitly wrong. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know, sometimes I just kind of like feel like a controversial statement that I'm giving today and that controversy will gonna happen in the future probably. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so this is just my opinion regarding about copying other creator or genuinely learning from. Okay, yeah, also sorry, I didn't really give the answer properly. Okay, yeah. So the content that I'm creating is a kind of like assembly. Okay, so right now I'm actually creating content, visual storytelling. Okay, yeah, from graphic designing and things and that. I use Photoshop. Right now I'm actually using the Gemini. Gemini is also AI. Okay, I'm creating kind of like assembly poster from Gemini, which is also really good. Okay, and basically is this thing that ki there is no one actually like a touchwood, by the way, there is no one who kind of like somebody creating such type of content in the YouTube platform, or at least maybe I haven't really seen them. Okay, yeah. So basically I think that I am a kind of like somebody really new in this content execution process. Okay, so that's really good. Okay, so another thing is that I created this kind of like a genre probably. I'm not really sure about that. Okay, but what I've seen, there is a very less people who are kind of like making, or maybe none of them, because I haven't really seen them. So yeah, and if the people are trying to copy, then they would not gonna copy. It's not really that it's a kind of like a far too difficult. Yeah, you just have to put the prompt in Gemini, kind of like a create the image. It just kind of like it really required a kind of like a creativity and the way that you thought process and things and that. Because in my content creation, there is nothing really kind of like exclusive, nothing really at all, just my thought process, like the way that I think, and that's it. And yeah, that's it probably. Whatever, this is just my opinion regarding about stuff. This is it. This is it. Thank you.